Hello, it's Seemownay with a new Shimmerz Paints process video for you. The Shimmerz team has been challenged to do a color challenge, and which means we chose one particular color from the whole Shimmerz color spectrum and make that color our main focus for this month's project. I chose the color coffee. It is one of the original Shimmerz, and I'm showing it to you here right now, which is a rich and thick, creamy color, and it is such a gorgeous brown, and I love it. And I was inspired by the luscious fall colors, and that is why my layout looks like it is a fall layout. However, it's actually not. Still, the photo fits right in with the color scheme. I showed it to you before, and now I'm showing you all the different papers that I chose. I'm mainly staying with reds and oranges and maybe a little bit of brown to balance it out and to tie in the color. And then I cut lots and lots of leaves and twigs and branches from free Cutfiles. I got most of them from the Paper Issues store. They have a ton and multitude of different Cutfiles. All of them are free, and if you are just starting out, just like me, and you don't really know what you're doing, and you just need to get more acquainted with your silhouette, then this is definitely the place to go and look. I also recently shared a layout on the Shimmerz channel and also on my channel where I used Cutfiles from Paige Evans. She also has a nice they are in her Facebook group. She has a nice bunch of free Cutfiles as well. So as you can see, I'm not only sticking to the coffee Shimmerz. That is because what inspired me, even though this is not a fall layout, are the rich and beautiful fall colors. And what I love about fall is how the colors just work together. There is such a big, huge color spectrum in these fall colors. The reds and oranges and yellows and greens and even browns. They just, yeah, I really kind of am missing the word right now. How they just transform and go right into the next color. That is just what inspired me. And so I'm also using some other colors, but making sure that the coffee Shimmerz is the dominant color in this whole color scheme. And as you saw in the beginning, I used my brush and used the Shimmerz right straight out of the tub. However, I thought it was, even though it covered the white pattern paper nicely, which if you want that effect, that's the way to go. I really like the effect that the paper got when I dipped it into I used packaging as my palette and just dipped them in. So it would get different coverage. Some of them are lighter, the color is pooling in some places, and in some it isn't. And that is what I loved about this. And as you can see, or as you saw me do it, I'm just not quick enough to explain. I always used coffee, but I mixed in other colors. If I have time, and I definitely will, I will list them and tell them to you. That you can find all the colors I used in the description box below. And I'm almost done, but I'm adding some splatters to the leaves because I love that when there are different colors on top and sprinkled on top. And you just saw my hands. They are really dirty. So I'm grabbing some paper, but I'm going to take the chance and tell you the colors that I used. The pink one is Pinko de Mayo. Then I also used Wisteria Lane. I used So Sappy. and coffee, French twist, which is an Inklingz or colorings, as well as the minor 49er. I covered my paper with gesso, even though at this point I don't really know if and what kind of mixed media I'm going to do, but just to be on the safe side, I covered it with white gesso. And I try to show you the glitter on the leaves. Right now I used my heat gun and dried them because it would have taken a long time for them to dry. And then I'm cutting down my photo because there were some kind of strange portraits of the dentist and the team of the dentist in the background, which I didn't really need. The focal point of that photo is my son being very comfortable at the dentist's office in the waiting area, and reading a book, which is so fascinating because this child hasn't been a reader for the longest time. He didn't like to read, and now he actually even doesn't get himself ready in the morning because he needs to finish a chapter or a book, which is like, who are you and what have you done with my middle child? He is so into books at the moment, and I love it. Reading is, to me, reading is the world. I'm not reading as much as I did before, but when I was a teenager and when I was younger, I loved reading. I borrowed a book from the library, one for each day, and I usually got through. And usually I borrowed one spare one because what if one of them wasn't good? What if I didn't like one of them, or if I was too fast to read? And then I wouldn't have a book. So yeah, I always made sure I had enough books. What I'm doing here is I'm taking out all the cut aparts, die cuts that I made from the pattern paper. I haven't done that yet. And I'm mixing them in to the ones that I made myself. And then I'm dangling the branches, the twigs, the leaves from each side of the photo. I was inspired by Jana. She is an amazing scrapbooker and artist. I love the way she scrapbooks. I could scrap lift everything that she does. It's just so pretty. And I love looking at her stuff and being inspired, but maybe copying some of it and not all of it. So I looked at it. I remembered that she had stuff hanging from the photo somewhere, and also that she had some pattern paper at the top of the layout, and the rest is my stuff. So I decided that I didn't like just having one ripped pattern paper in the top. I wanted to have all the colors in there, and I didn't have enough to reach to get a full stretch of 12 by 12 from the red one, but I had the idea to just rip it in half and cover the gap with my photo. So now I'm looking where I'm going to place my photo. Just ripped it in half, and you can see that, yep, I also need to do the same thing with the pink paper that is the bottom layer, because it wouldn't show if I covered it up with the red, and I wanted to have it on both sides of the photo. So this is a trick for you if something doesn't work, and you can just cover gaps and pieces where you're going to place your photo. Nobody will see that I ripped the paper in half, and it looks like it's intended to be that way. So yes, the only thing I'm going to add to the background here are some paint splatters. Now that I'm finished, I think I should have added bigger paint splatters. But that's the crux with mixed media. It's always you think you've done enough and it doesn't really look right. And then when you add the photo and the rest on top, it is hardly noticeable. And if it would have really looked probably nice, not nicer, but more cohesive, more noticeable if I had some brown, big brown splatters. I'm going to raise my photo and I'm using just some craft foam that I purchased from Amazon. It was maybe $10 for 50 sheets of self-adhesive craft foam. However, the sticky isn't really well good, so I'm usually just adding glue to both sides of the foam. I stuck down my photo and you saw me testing these branches out before. I didn't take a photo, I just tested and looked what it would look like to check if the basic idea would work. And now I'm also not going to fuss around. I'm just going to commit to sticking things down as I go. I have so much stuff left, or so much stuff here, that even if I'm going to create a gap or a hole, or if something doesn't look right, I'm using wet glue so I can just take it off again if I don't like it, or I'm just going to add more later on where I think I need more. And if that wouldn't have been enough, I could have just gone to my silhouette and cut another white pattern paper and make more. So yeah, that takes quite a while, and I wasn't sure if I was going to raise some of the leaves up using foam, but to be honest, I was too lazy to cut tiny slivers of foam. I don't have any foam dots or foam adhesive in smaller things. I would have needed to cut it from the big craft foam that I used to back my photo. And so I just decided, nope, I'm just going to stick things down. I'm only adding glue to the top of the branches or leaves, twigs, whatever you call them. And then I'm letting the rest flow. And I'm not showing this on screen because I thought of that when I was going to go and take photos. I decided to add some foam to some of the bigger branches where there is enough cardstock to cover up the yellow foam. And I also used my hands to ruffle up the edges so that it sticks up. And I'm just going to see what it looks like when I put it in the page protector, and it's okay. It doesn't really need to be that dimensional once it's in a page protector. It would bulk up my album, and I had fun creating it, and I took a photo of it when it was dimensional. So it doesn't really matter what it looks like when you look at it in 2 or 3 years. So yeah, I still have some of the leaves, the branches left, and I wasn't sure if I was going to go all the way down to the bottom of the paper. I decided to stop for the middle, what do you call it, cascading waterfall leaf fall, a little bit higher up, and put the left one all the way down because it just looked right. I can't really tell you another reason. Maybe because it's the left edge, that's why it's nicer when it's going all the way down. When I add my journaling, you will see how it works really nicely. And then I pulled out all the brown and red alpha stickers that I have in my stash. There is a really old chipboard phrase set from Dear Lizzie. That is where the yes and the arrow that I put onto the photo is from. And then the darker red or burgundy colored alpha stickers are from Coco Daisy. They came in their September memory keeping kit. And what I really don't like about chipboard stickers is the way they come off in the packaging. Usually some of the adhesive stays on. Sometimes the sticky adhesive backing stays in the packaging, and especially when the letters are really skinny, that is a problem. But it's not only Cocoa Daisy, it's all the companies. See here, the backing of the R was already falling off, and that is Pink Fresh Studio. So I just ripped it off because I didn't want the R to move once it's done. So my title is going to read, Yes, He is a Reader Now. And that is something that I love doing. I love creating titles that are bigger than usual. I do love the occasional love this and perfect day or happy smile, stuff like that. That's good too. But what I really, really love doing is creating long, funny titles. I have one that it's an advertisement for a company, and it is really, really long, and I'm still waiting for the perfect photo to use that as a title on my layout. So this one isn't really that funny. It's Yes, He is a Reader Now, and then I'm going to journal right underneath the title. You know that journaling is really important to me, and I always try to incorporate the journaling into the design of my layout, and it works out really nicely here. I'm done. Here are some close-ups of the layout. Don't the different hues of coffees by mixing in other colors just look amazing? And I have a question for you. If you were to participate, and you totally are invited to do so, in a color challenge, what Shimmerz color would you pick for your main focus of the layout or card or whatever else you are creating? Don't forget to mention my name if you shop in the Shimmerz store for a little surprise paint. Thank you so much for sticking with me for such a long process video. I hope to see you soon. Leave a comment with your favorite color down below. And if you want to play along, I would love for you to tag me wherever you share. Bye!